conflict is usually associated with this negative anger, and it's important that you don't give anger any power in your marriage.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes, knowing bigger hands are holding ours, and the greatest days are ahead of us, growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Hey, welcome to our home. We're so glad you're here.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say that we all fight in marriage.
That's for sure. You know, us too. You know, the other day we had some words, but I didn't get to use mine.
You are so funny. Okay, so yes, we all do fight in marriage. But how can we do that so it actually results in a better us?
Well, today we're on the beach with Psychologist Dr. Mike, and he's going to give us some practical tools for fighting fair and fighting with a plan.
And later, marriage researcher and best-selling author Shaunti Feldhahn shares the importance of just hanging out together as a couple.
That is, if the fight went well.
It went well. I have faith that it went well.
And we're going to talk about these topics around our kitchen island with our kitchen couples, CFL football great Mike Pinball Clemens and his wife Diane.
And newlyweds, youth and children's pastors Eric and Kara Maines.
So come on in and let's learn how to fight right.
All right.
It helps you work at it.
Absolutely, because it works through discussions and resolutions, and you're not the same. You're completely two different individuals trying to make it work as one. And when you do that, you're going to have conflict. And so the resolution and working through it makes the marriage even that much better.
Sometimes I think conflict is it's being able to work something out, work through, voice both of your ideas and see what's going to work best.
If there's no disagreements, then you have a perfect marriage. If you have a perfect marriage, you arrived. And I don't think we have arrived. I haven't. So the second thing I think we'll probably have to talk about it is the fact that we cannot let the sun go down without talking about what we have disagreed on. And that is important because that could be the last breath I'm taking that night. And so I got to make it right before the Lord and before her.
Conflict makes marriage better because without conflict, then you don't know what you're losing or what you have. So that's a good thing to have, not when you're in it, but after.
I think yes, because you want to talk about things and get things out in the open instead of keeping things to yourself, as long as you do it in a way that's honoring of the person that you're with and thinking about their thoughts and feelings too.
Yeah, for sure, because sometimes you don't even really know what an issue is until you say it out loud, and then you've kind of verbalized it and you have to work through it. So until you've had that conflict, you don't generally know.
A group of researchers got together to answer the question, how do we know when people are married? The results were hilarious. Children in particular associated being married with having conflict. Is that funny or what? They basically said something like, if they're arguing, they're probably married. How intuitive. So if we want to be at a point in our marriages where we're actually solving problems, not just arguing, I want to give you some strategies that will help you do just that. You ready? Number one, you need to fight fair. I want to be the first to tell you that if you're married and you're spending 30, 40, 50 years together, you're gonna have some conflict. It's unrealistic to think that a healthy couple is not ever gonna have any disagreements. So as a matter of fact, you want disagreements. That makes sure that both people are showing up and being honest and really getting what's on their heart out on the table. But the issue is that conflict is usually associated with this negative anger. And it's important that you don't give anger any power in your marriage and in your relationship. Here's how anger kind of comes in and messes everything up. Let me give you an example. Your husband comes in late to your son's birthday party and basically you're ticked. He's done it again. You're angry. Your husband's behavior hurt you and it hurt your son. How are you going to respond to that? I'll give you a couple unhealthy responses. One is an aggressive response, and it's saying something like, man, I can't believe you did this again. You are crazy. What a jerk move. It's pretty aggressive. You're now calling him a name. You're doing things that you're going to regret later. Other people aren't quite as aggressive. Sometimes they're passive aggressive, right? That means that they're gonna log that anger. They're not really gonna say much in the moment, but later on, when he does something that's benign, maybe a week later or a day later or a month later, you're gonna bring it up, and man, you're gonna come right at him when he brings in the mail wrong or breathes wrong. So our goal in all of this is to make sure that we have an intuitive way of expressing ourselves in healthy ways that focus on people's behavior, not on how messed up they are as people. Johnny, he wanted you here at this party. So did I. And I'm just worried that we're not prioritizing our family the way we've talked about. That's a good, healthy response, right? It's not focused on other people and how messed up they are or how you want to kind of attack them as a human. It's focused on your emotion, getting what's on your heart out on the table. Now, the goal of this fight, the goal of this conflict is for you to be vulnerable and ultimately to speak the truth in love. That is the scriptural principle. Speak the truth, be honest, frank, open, but do it in a loving, warm way. You've got to fight fair. Number two, the second strategy that you want to implement to make sure that you're solving problems and not getting angry is fight with a plan. Let me tell you what I mean by that. If you're ever going to solve problems, you have to have sort of an organized understanding of what this conversation is going to sound like. I recommend people start with, number one, listening. Like, you've got to start with listening to your spouse. Seek first to understand. That's an awesome principle that if you can implement in your marriage and in your conflict, you will never be disappointed with the outcome. So number one, listen, listen, listen. Try to truly understand what's going on inside their heart and inside their mind. Number two, you've got to come up with all the possible solutions. Get a piece of paper, write down on that piece of paper all the possible solutions to the problem. In the situation I mentioned earlier, you might say, we have birthday parties only on the weekends when you don't work, or we plan on you not even coming to birthday parties. That's a crazy solution, but it's actually a solution. You get them all down on paper. Then, number three, you step back as a couple and you say, okay, let's find some obvious solutions that are on this piece of paper that could potentially be something that we go with that's a solution for this problem. Now, this is where it gets tough because you got to compromise. You've got to be willing to say, I'm going to give a little bit, you're going to give a little bit, and we're going to come to the middle here and find something that's healthy for everybody. Now, it's important to recognize that whoever is the expert in this domain of your life as a couple together, that's the person that probably needs to make the deal breaker decision during an impasse. So if you're horrible with money, don't make the final financial decisions, right? If you're horrible with, things and details around the house, don't make the final decisions there. That's when you defer to your spouse. But that's a lot easier when you have number four coming. Number four is you set a time right then, right there to reevaluate your decision. It's a lot easier to commit to something if you know that I'm only committing to this for a week or a month or 6 weeks, and then at that appointment, you put that appointment on your calendar, you protect that appointment, and you guys come back together and you say, okay, let's re-talk this whole thing through, and let's go through every point again. Listen and brainstorm, make it, how's this decision working? And if you're willing to kind of circle back, address your solutions, change the solution if it's not working for everybody, my commitment to you is you will find that you're actually solving problems, not just fighting and arguing. So remember, if you want to make sure that you aren't just recycling the same argument over and over again, and you're actually solving problems, fight fair, fight with a plan.
Well, we're here with our kitchen couples for the discussion.
Yeah.
Great to hear from Dr. Mike on the beach there. Of course, we have Diane and Pinball Clemens. Mike, good to have both of you here. And Eric and Kara Maines.
You're excited.
Family, yeah. We happen to know you two pretty well, but we have a feeling we're going to get to know you a lot better as we do these little
By the way, it's our
some marriage secrets here
in
front of our parents.
I love that.
That's going to be interesting.
Eric's our son, our baby, and if he were to stand up, his head would almost hit the ceiling. Because
Maybe not quite.
he's 6'8", so anyway, let's just
Well,
say.
Pinball's used to being around some pretty big guys.
Yeah,
so
yeah. He's never been intimidated before, so I think you're going to be okay.
Well, I know, actually, I have been intimidated.
Anyway, but on the football field, there's some clashing going on there, right?
Conflict happening.
But in marriage, it's interesting, a whole new perspective we're getting from Dr. Mike on the beach.
Absolutely. How do we resolve conflict? And how do we do it right? How do we do it well? I know we talk a lot about what we bring to marriage from our childhoods. For me, resolving conflict was kind of difficult at the beginning because I'm not a confrontational person. I was raised in a home where you just don't confront. You don't talk about this. So I had to learn early on that resolving conflict was a good thing, and you don't stuff it down, you don't put it away somewhere, that you actually bring it out in the open. Yeah. And I love that Dr. Mike is giving us some good tools in how to do that. So.
Yeah, Mike and Diane, you probably never have any conflict,
no,
right?
Look at you. So in love. So in love.
When you were talking about sheer size, though, I thought about as a coach. I have these guys, and these big guys come in the office, and as the coach, you talk about just about everything, and that means they can handle two big guys, right? You got to take on the double team, right? You got this guy, he can handle the double team. He can handle two guys that are 300 pounds, but a little 5'5", 135-pound spouse, oh my goodness, brings him to his knees, right? And so when we talk to this and speak to this, it's something that affects all of us. None of us are too big, if you will, for challenges and conflict and struggle. And one of the, I guess the thing that I love that he said, it was a part of the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? Seek first to understand, right? And then, as they said in the 7 habits, and then to be understood. And if we sort of start, if that was a starting place where we were seeking first to understand, right? And then to be understood. Like when I say we, I meant me. If I was always in the position where I was seeking first to understand, we'd have a lot fewer arguments.
Right?
Argument free, right?
Amen. Can I get a witness on that one? But I mean, you guys have only been married 3 years. Now
3.5. Thank you very much.
Okay, 3.5.
Counting the months and the stage.
And so you've learned some things in these first 3.5 years about resolving conflict.
Absolutely.
I found that, and yes, we are still. You can consider us still newly married. We're under the 5-year mark, so it's still
in the honeymoon
honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
But whenever there is a conflict, I feel that I tend to be maybe a little over persistent in trying to fix that problem, maybe to the point where it gets annoying. But because I heard it said once back in the day when they say, do not go to bed without solving the issue. And so I fight for that one. If even if we get in an argument at like midnight and it's just like we're already trying to sleep, it's like I'll turn the light on. Just like, no, we need to fix this right now. And she's just like, we can talk tomorrow. I'm almost asleep. But then I feel like I may get a little annoying in that.
No, it's good. We're still learning each other. We're still learning to see what makes us tick, what makes us work well. And it's a journey, but it's exciting. And so we're just trying to create those good habits now so that when we're 30, 40, 50 years in, then we can say, you know what, we took these steps in our 3rd year of marriage or our 4th year of marriage to protect our future and what that will look like.
I love that, to protect your future. I love that. And even when you've been married 25 years or 33 years, we can still take those steps to protect our future, because we still have, a lot of years of marriage ahead of us. I like that.
And one perspective that we've had and we've heard taught, and now we get to share this as well in seminars, is that when there's a conflict, oftentimes it kind of gets in between you.
Put it right here.
And you're fighting and you're shooting across each other, and kind of hitting each other in the crossfire of trying to deal with this thing. Yeah. But if you see yourselves on the same side of the table and the conflict, the issue that you're dealing with is over here, then you're a team. Yeah. And you're saying, okay, together, how are we going to handle that?
And this is safe. This is safe. That's what we're dealing with. That doesn't affect us. Right. We're fine. That's a problem, and we're going to deal with it together. But it's not between us. And so it's all about how you look at it, how you walk it out. Yeah.
Well, we'll be
stuff.
back to the kitchen a little later
Yeah.
in the program.
We got lots
Thanks,
more to talk
guys.
about.
Stay with us.
Yeah, to have at the table, on the other side of the table. I know. We're going to keep talking about that.
Okay, stay with us.
This really wonderful idea of love that is so poignant, and we talk to it and we speak to it and we say loves and marriage and all of this, and love just says, I think about you first.
Hey friends, Ron and Ann here. We're so glad you're with us at A Better Us, and we pray your marriage is blessed as you take this in.
Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this video.
To have a great relationship, learn what those in great relationships do differently. In my research study for the surprising secrets of highly happy marriages, I identified 12 little things that make a big difference. Here is secret number 8. Find opportunities to hang out with your spouse day to day, and during times of tension, look for ways to hang out more, not less. When you see an elderly couple smiling and holding hands, don't you ever think, oh, I hope that's me when I'm that age? Well, I saw in my research that the old saying, the couple that plays together stays together, is true. Happy couples are happy because they make a point of spending time together, whether it feels right at the time or not. The vast majority of the couples in my research were not just spending time together because they were happy. A big reason they were happy is that they were spending time together. They treated each other like best friends who they made sure to see frequently. And although date nights were great, it didn't have to be something formal. These couples described just hanging out and having coffee on a Saturday morning and reading the newspaper together, or one spouse riding along to the kids' activities instead of catching up on housework or going together to the grocery store. They had learned the power of just hanging out. In fact, during times of tension or stress, it is tempting to hang out less and avoid each other because you avoid the conflict. But what that does is put more distance between you and makes the friendship feel less close. The happiest couples solve that problem by spending even more time together. So it turns out, if you want to love being with your spouse, you have to be with your spouse a lot more often and nurture the friendship most of all.
Okay, we are back in the kitchen with our kitchen couples, and that's a
I
great
like that.
phrase.
Kitchen couples, maybe it's a sitcom or something.
Yeah.
Right? The kitchen couples.
And we're just kind of hanging out together. But Shaunti Feldhahn there was talking about just as couples, just coming together and hanging out, and how important that is.
You. Now, you guys have been married a long time. Do you find that when you have conflict or something, you need to hang out together more, or what do you think?
Well, you know what? We've done a few marriage seminars, and I remember it came up, someone was asking how much time we spend together, and we got into a big conversation. But what I like to say to people is, or ask couples, do you like your spouse? Because it makes a difference. I love him. But do you like him? Because if you like him, there's a difference.
Yeah, there is a difference.
There's a huge difference. Yeah. If you like him, then you will want to spend time with him. And the more you like him, the more time you want to spend with him. And I kind of like this guy. Yeah. So I enjoy spending time. And I enjoy date nights and just hanging out and going on trips with him and just hanging out. So I think it's important that we understand you have to like your spouse. So you have to work on that relationship part of it, right?
One of the things we worked on early was enjoying what the other person likes to do, right? So that was something that we really took an interest in on early is Diane
learn to like football.
You actually had no choice.
Yes, and she actually cheers exuberantly at times now.
Absolutely.
And I had to learn to love shoes. shoes. and the mission to conquer shoes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's
I
right.
enjoy being at a good store. And
That's right.
I've learned to love it and hang out and get comfortable. I'm not stressed.
That's
I
right.
may be thinking about football, saying that's a nice shoe, but yes. But
So entering into each other's world.
Very
I
important.
like that. I like that. Now, Eric and Kara, I know you guys. You live in each other's worlds. I mean,
we got a little bit of a different situation.
You work together. Okay, what do you do?
So, as you're saying there, we live together, we work together, we commute together. We're always together.
Yeah, he is the youth pastor at our church, and I'm the children's pastor.
We're
So
both on
staff
there.
meetings can get interesting sometimes.
Staff meetings together.
Yeah.
Our offices are right next to each
Yes.
other. So I'm just like, hey, Kara, come on over.
Yeah.
And it's just.
And it's wonderful, and we love it. But sometimes we find that we need our own space, and we need our own hobbies and things that we love. And we find that nights where I'm just with the girls or he's just with the guys are just as important as
they're
spending time
equally as
together,
valuable.
because then we can come back together and say, well, how was your night? And then it creates conversation. And
Yeah, and on that, from Shaunti's point there, I can see how maybe we can change the kind of time that we hang out together, instead of it being from out of obligation, because we do work together, and like we got to get to work together, so we're commuting together and we live together. It's just out of obligation, maybe change it into a time of having fun.
Yeah.
And so you might have to prioritize fun over a few other things too, but that's that's an encouraging video. I like that.
And for newlywed couples like you guys who don't have kids yet, once the kids come, you'll find that your worlds start to separate. Because the mom was going to be more with that baby and the dad is not going to be around as much. And you'll find that you actually desire to have those alone times together, where you need to come back and connect with each other. So it's a different stage of life they're in right now, but once the babies come, it'll change.
Absolutely.
And for men, one of their top needs is this idea of friendship and kind
With
of
a wife,
the buddy things, someone you like to do stuff with.
Yeah.
And because men build relationships by doing things together. You know, like women, they could just sit down over coffee, they talk.
I know.
And so women build friendships like this.
They don't like it when you go like this.
No. And actually, we sound nothing like this.
But men, it might be more like this, you know, doing the fishing or the football or doing things that you have fun together. And so sometimes, as you were saying, like entering the other person's world and what they like to do is so important, even if at the beginning, maybe you're not crazy about it, but maybe you learn to like it. And it's really important to us guys.
Yeah.
This really wonderful idea of love that is so poignant, and we talk to it and we speak to it and we say loves and marriage and all of this, and love just says, I think about you first. Right? I think about you before I think about me. So as we talk about conflict, right? Or we talk about spending time together, right? When we put the other person first, when we love them, not necessarily like, right? But hope so, right? But when we love them, right? We learn to like them. When we put them first, we begin to enjoy those things and invest ourselves. So love is essentially just learning to invest, right? And learning to put them first. And it's hard to be mad with someone when they put you first. It's kind of like the end of the argument.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And I like, Kara, what you said earlier about building good habits now. So you build good habits now of hanging out together, Eric, like you were saying, intentionally to have fun, not necessarily under obligation, but you just want to go and have fun. You build those habits now so that when you've been married a long time, that's your go-to. When you're feeling stressed, you know, let's go out and let's go to an ice cream parlor. Because remember when we were newlyweds, we used to do that a lot, or that kind of thing.
Well, this has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
We could keep going on forever because we just like hanging out.
I know.
But we got to make a transition here, and so thanks, guys, and stay with us.
There's more to come.
Well, on a 30-minute program, you can only go so deep in certain topics, but we want you to go deeper, and that's why we have resources available for you at abetterus.tv, like this book, The Good Fight by Drs. Les and Leslie Parrott.
As opposed to The Bad Fight, which I think we can all do pretty well. But
don't want the bad.
In The Good Fight, they say, you know, it's not whether you fight, but it's how you fight. And if you fight well, then you can actually enrich your relationship.
And this comes with an app as well that comes free.
abetterus.tv. Get your copy.
Hey, you know, conflict is inevitable, right? It doesn't matter how loving you are. In fact, my favorite verse in all of Scripture on conflict, Romans 12, verse 18 says, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, try to live at peace with everyone. Have you ever seen a verse that has more qualifiers in it than that single verse? Even Scripture's acknowledging we're going to have conflict.
Yeah, conflict is real life, but what we need to understand is how can we navigate conflict in a way that doesn't damage our relationship?
And one of the most important ingredients is a cooperative spirit. When we look at what goes into a good fight, because there's a big difference between a good fight and a bad fight, right?
Yes.
A good fight brings us closer together. In fact, we often say conflict is the price we pay for deeper intimacy.
Right.
So a good fight versus a bad fight, you have to have a cooperative spirit, which means we're on the same team here.
Yeah, because if you try to win in a fight with your spouse, your marriage is what loses, not your spouse.
Right.
So you want to be cooperative. In fact, one of the best metaphors I've ever had for us, and we'll call it up whenever we're in a fight, after watching loads of soccer games on that field, I'll try to picture the two of us on the same team out on that field. We have a problem. It's like we're kicking that soccer ball back and forth between us, trying to
The soccer ball is the problem, right? Not
exactly.
you or not me,
No,
but the
and
problem.
we're not on opposing teams.
Yeah.
We're trying to score together by finding resolution, and we're making a goal.
Right, and that's what keeps us on the same team. A cooperative spirit, essential to fighting a good fight.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying the show.
You know, our vision at A Better Us is to see every marriage become a loving union that creates a safe family haven, building a legacy of hope for future generations.
That's why we feel it's so important to invest in marriage relationships through producing a new episode of A Better Us every week.
Absolutely. If you feel as we do that marriages are worth investing in, then please consider joining us as a member of A Better Us with a monthly donation of $25.
You'll be making a big difference in lives and families, and we'll send you 2 of our special mugs, the mugs that you see our kitchen couples using each program.
Absolutely. And be sure to send us your mugshot selfie, and we'll post it on our Facebook page and on our website.
Simply visit abetterus.tv and click Donate to set up your automatic monthly giving. God bless you, and thank you so much for making this program possible and helping us strengthen marriages.
So we can all become a better us.
Well, on today's program, we talked about handling conflict, something that we all have to deal with in marriage.
We also talked about the importance of taking time to just hang out together as a couple, to enter into each other's world and then learn to love it, like Mike did in shoe shopping with Diane.
Way to go, pinball. I don't think I could handle that.
I don't think you could either. But you know what? Sometimes our marriages go through dry patches, and maybe that's when finding something fun to do together is exactly what you need. Low key, no pressure, just fun.
Maybe you're in a difficult place right now in your marriage. We want you to know that there's always hope, especially when you allow God to be part of the equation.
He's the author of marriage, and he never creates anything to fail. We can all have a 100% chance of success in marriage when we do it his way.
Absolutely. And we believe in the power of prayer. So if you'd like someone to pray for you, for your marriage, just call the number on the screen.
It's available 24/7. There's always someone there to answer your call.
We also have some great resources available through our website at abetterus.tv, including a free weekly marriage moment email to give you encouragement.
Thanks again for stopping by. And remember, with God, there is always hope to become a better us.
Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here with A Better Us on our YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage better.
And you can see just a few options we think you might like here and here.
Enjoy. Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way soon.